Electric Fetus, Minneapolis. November 12th, 1993, 9:47 p.m. 13 minutes until closing. The store was almost empty, just the hum of fluorescent lights and a distant Coltrane record someone had left playing in the jazz section. The smell of old vinyl and incense hung in the air. Maria Chen stood behind the counter, her shoulders curved inward from exhaustion, reorganizing a stack of receipt papers she'd already organized twice. Her hands moved automatically, her mind somewhere else entirely. Not on the vinyl records surrounding her or the posters of Hendrix and Miles Davis covering the walls. Not on the late November cold pressing against the windows. Her mind was on a question her 8-year-old daughter had asked that morning. "Mama, my teacher says I'm talented at piano. Can I take real lessons? The ones where you learn Beethoven?" Maria had smiled, kissed Emma's forehead, and said, "We'll see, baby." Translation: no, not now. Maybe never, because piano lessons in Minneapolis cost $85 an hour, and Maria was making $9 an hour at Electric Fetus, working the closing shift 4 nights a week, while Emma stayed with Mrs. Patterson next door for $5 an hour. The math didn't work. The math never worked. The bell above the door chimed. Maria looked up. A man walked in, and something about him made the air in the store shift. He wore a purple velvet fedora pulled low, dark sunglasses despite the late hour, a long black coat that swept behind him. He moved quietly, almost gliding between the racks, his fingers trailing across album spines with practiced familiarity. Maria watched him for a moment, then returned to her receipts. Late-night customers were often eccentric. This was Minneapolis. The man disappeared into the back section, where they kept classical recordings. 5 minutes passed. Maria glanced at the clock. 9:52 p.m. She walked toward the classical section. The man was standing in front of the piano recordings, holding a vinyl copy of Glenn Gould playing Bach's Goldberg Variations. He didn't look up when Maria approached. "We close in a few minutes," Maria said gently. The man nodded. His voice was quiet, almost a whisper. "Do you carry any Beethoven?" "Piano sonatas. Aisle 3, left side. We've got Rubinstein, Arau, a few others. Which one's your favorite?" Maria hesitated. Nobody had ever asked her that. "Moonlight Sonata," she said finally. "Wilhelm Kempf's recording. It's the one I used to listen to when I was younger. Before life got in the way, I guess." The man turned slightly. Though Maria couldn't see his eyes behind the sunglasses, she felt him looking at her. Really looking. He pulled the Kempf recording from the shelf. "I'll take this one." They walked to the counter together, footsteps echoing in the now empty store. Maria rang up the purchase, her fingers moving across the familiar keys of the register. $18.95. The man pulled out a $100 bill, set it carefully on the counter. "Do you have a daughter?" Maria's hand froze over the register. "How did you—" "I saw the drawing." He gestured to the corner of the counter where Emma had left a crayon sketch that morning. A little girl at a piano, purple notes floating in the air above her head. Maria had taped it there because it made her smile during long shifts. "She's 8, Maria said. "She loves music." "Does she play?" "A little, at school. But we can't afford lessons, so—" Maria trailed off, suddenly embarrassed. The man nodded slowly. He took his change, picked up the record, and turned toward the door. Then he stopped. "What's your daughter's name?" "Emma." "Emma," the man repeated as if testing how the name felt. "She deserves to learn." And then he was gone. The bell chimed. The door closed. Maria stood behind the counter, confused. Something about that interaction had felt significant. She finished closing the store, locked up, drove home through the November cold, paid Mrs. Patterson $30 for babysitting, checked on Emma, who was asleep with her Mozart book still open, and sat at her kitchen table doing math she already knew wouldn't work. Rent, $650. Utilities, $180. Groceries, $400. Piano lessons, $340 per month. Impossible. To understand what happened next, you need to understand who Prince was in November 1993. Not just famous, beyond famous. He was 35 years old at the absolute peak of his creative powers, and he'd been waging war with Warner Brothers Records over ownership of his music. The world saw rebellion. What they didn't see was the other side, the quiet side, The side that remembered being 7 years old, standing in front of a broken piano his father had brought home. Being told, if you want to play, you learn every key, no shortcuts. Shuluk. The side that remembered being a black kid in Minneapolis in the 1960s, not fitting in anywhere, using music as the only language that made sense. The side that walked into music stores late at night wearing disguises because he wanted to be around music without being Prince. On November 12, 1993, Prince had walked into Electric Fetus because he did that sometimes. And he'd seen Maria, saw the exhaustion in her shoulders, saw the crayon drawing taped to her counter, saw a mother trying to give her daughter something she herself had never had. Prince knew that story. He'd lived versions of it, and he'd made a decision. November 14, 1993, Sunday morning, 10:47 a.m. Maria was making pancakes when someone knocked on her apartment door. Emma ran to answer it, but Maria caught her. "Let me check first, baby." She opened the door. A UPS driver stood there holding a clipboard. "Maria Chen? That's me. I've got a delivery for you. It's pretty heavy. Gonna need help getting it upstairs." Maria stepped into the hallway. At the bottom of the stairs sat a massive wooden crate, at least 6 feet long, wrapped in shipping blankets. On top of it sat a purple envelope. "What is this?" "No idea, ma'am. I just deliver. Sign here." Maria signed. The driver and his partner wrestled the crate up 2 flights of stairs, set it carefully in Maria's living room, and left. Emma stood staring at the crate like it might contain a spaceship. "Mama, what is it?" "I don't know." Maria's hands were shaking as she picked up the purple envelope. Inside was a note handwritten in blue ink. "Emma, music should never be too expensive. Call this number tomorrow at 2 p.m. Tell them Prince sent you. A friend." Maria read it 3 times. "Prince sent you." Her mind went to the man from the music store. Purple fedora, sunglasses. No. Impossible. Emma was already pulling at the shipping blankets, her small hands working frantically. Maria helped her remove them, layer by layer, then used a screwdriver from the kitchen drawer to pry open the wooden crate. The sound of wood creaking filled the small apartment. Inside, packed in foam and protective wrap, revealed inch by inch, was a piano. Not just any piano, a Yamaha U1 upright, professional grade, glossy black finish that reflected the morning light streaming through the windows, pristine condition. The kind of piano Maria had only seen in music stores, behind velvet ropes, with price tags that made her heart sink. Retail value, $5,800. More money than Maria made in 6 months. Maria sat down on her living room floor and cried. Not quiet tears, deep, body-shaking sobs that came from somewhere she'd locked away years ago. Emma sat beside her, small hand on her mother's shoulder. "Mama, is this ours?" "I don't know, baby." Have you ever been given something you desperately needed but never asked for? Have you ever had a stranger see your struggle and decide, without being asked, to change your life? Drop a comment below, because what happened next proved that magic isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a purple envelope and a phone number. Monday, November 15th, 1993, 2 p.m. exactly. Maria sat at her kitchen table, phone in hand, the note from the purple envelope in front of her. She'd barely slept. The piano sat in her living room like a beautiful, impossible question. She dialed the number. It rang twice. "Paisley Park, this is Karen." Maria's voice came out shaky. "Hi, my name is Maria Chen. I was told to call this number. Someone sent me a piano." There was a pause. "Maria, yes, we've been expecting your call." "I don't understand. Who sent this? Why?" "Someone noticed that your daughter loves music. Someone who believes that talent shouldn't be limited by economics. The note said Prince sent me." "That's correct." Maria almost dropped the phone. "Prince? As in Prince?" "Yes. He was in my store on Friday night. He goes to Electric Fetus sometimes. It's one of his favorite places." Maria couldn't speak. "Maria, are you still there?" "Yes, I don't understand why." "Because he can, and because Emma deserves to learn." Karen's voice was warm. "The piano is yours. No strings attached. But if Emma wants to continue studying, we'd like to offer her something else. 2 years of piano lessons, fully covered, 1 hour per week with a professional instructor. If Emma shows progress, we'll arrange for her to attend master classes here at Paisley Park. All of it free. The kitchen seemed to tilt. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just let Emma play. Can I thank him? Prince prefers to remain private about these things. He doesn't help people for recognition. Maria was crying again. Why us? Why not you? Do you accept? Yes, God, yes. Good, someone will call you this week. Click. Maria sat holding the phone for 10 minutes. Then she walked to Emma. That piano is yours, and you're going to learn how to play it. Really play it, like Beethoven. Emma's eyes went wide. Really? Really? Emma wrapped her arms around Maria's waist and held on tight. The lessons started the following week. Emma's teacher was Dr. Sarah Lindstrom, a Juilliard graduate who'd played with the Minnesota Orchestra. She came to Maria's apartment every Tuesday at 4 p.m., and for 1 hour she taught Emma how to make music. Emma was a natural. Dr. Lindstrom said so after the third lesson. She has something rare, Maria. Perfect pitch, yes, but more than that, she understands what the music is trying to say. Maria watched her daughter's small fingers find their way across keys, watched concentration replace restlessness, watched Emma disappear into sound. Over the next 2 years, Emma progressed faster than anyone expected. By 1995, she was playing Chopin. By 1996, she'd performed at the Ordway Theater to a standing ovation. Maria kept the purple envelope in a drawer beside her bed. In 1997, when Emma turned 12, Dr. Lindstrom recommended she audition for pre-college programs: Juilliard, Curtis, Oberlin. Maria called the number from the purple envelope. Karen answered. Hi, Karen, it's Maria Chen. Maria, how's Emma? She's incredible. Her teacher says she should audition for Juilliard's pre-college program. That's wonderful. I can't afford it. I wanted to say thank you for everything, but I think this is where the story ends. Hold on. The line went quiet. Maria, if Emma gets accepted, we'll cover it. Tuition, travel, housing. This is what Prince wanted. Emma was accepted to Juilliard in 1998. She spent her teenage years between Minneapolis and New York, studying under masters, performing in concert halls. Every time she sat at a piano, she thought about the purple envelope, the stranger, the impossible gift. April 21st, 2016. Maria was 51. Emma was 30, a professional concert pianist who'd played Carnegie Hall, the Kennedy Center, venues across Europe. Emma called Maria at 6 a.m. Mama, did you see the news? What news? Prince died this morning. Maria sat down on her bed. What? He's gone. Everything I am is because of him, and I never got to say thank you. I know, baby. There's a memorial. They're asking musicians to perform. I need to play for him. Then you go. June 13th, 2016. Paisley Park, Chanhassen, Minnesota. Thousands of people gathered in the space where Prince had created magic for decades. Musicians, fans, friends, family. The air was thick with grief and reverence. Emma Chen stood backstage in the same building where Prince had spent decades creating music, her hands shaking so badly she couldn't hold her water bottle. Karen Lee found her there, 23 years older, but with the same warm presence that had comforted Maria over the phone in 1993. Emma, I'm so glad you came. I can't believe he's gone. None of us can. Why did he choose me? We were nobody. Karen smiled. Prince never chose people because they were somebody. He chose them because he saw something that needed fixing. Your mother was drowning. Prince understood. He'd lived it, so he fixed it. No press, no photo op, just a piano and a phone number. I wish I could have thanked him. You're about to. Emma walked onto the stage. A piano sat in the center, lit by a single purple spotlight. She sat down. The room went completely silent. And Emma played Purple Rain, not the rock anthem, a classical piano arrangement she'd written herself, every note carrying gratitude, grief, love. Her fingers moved across keys of the same Yamaha that had appeared in her living room 23 years ago. When she finished, silence lasted 5 full seconds. Then the room erupted, people crying. Emma stood at the microphone. In 1993, I was 8 years old. My mother worked at a music store. We had no money for piano lessons. Then a stranger in a purple hat left something at our door. A piano, a phone number, a future. That stranger was Prince. He never asked for thanks, but he gave me everything. Thank you, Prince, for seeing us, for believing that talent should never be limited by economics. Everything I am is because you decided to help a little girl you never met. The ovation lasted 7 minutes. After the service, Maria found Karen. How many others were there? Karen smiled. More than you know. Prince believed in silent generosity. Maria pulled the purple envelope from her purse. 23 years old, ink faded. I've kept this. Will you take it? So it's home? Karen took it gently. We'll keep it safe, part of his legacy. He changed our lives. I became a music teacher, helped kids who couldn't afford lessons. We paid it forward. That's what he would have wanted, right? That's exactly what he would have wanted. Today, the purple envelope sits in Paisley Park's archives, not guitars or platinum records. This tells a different story, about seeing someone struggle and choosing to help, without cameras, without applause, just because it was right. Emma still performs worldwide. Before every concert, she touches the piano and whispers, "This is for you." Prince never heard Emma play, never knew she made it to Carnegie Hall. But maybe that wasn't the point. Maybe the point was simpler. See someone who needs help. Help them. Don't ask for credit. Just change their life and walk away. That was Prince. If this story reminded you that kindness doesn't need recognition, share it. Drop a comment. Has anyone changed your life without asking for anything in return? How did you pay it forward? Because that's the legacy, not the envelope, not the piano. The fact that Maria became a music teacher, that Emma plays for people who never had lessons. That one act in 1993 created a ripple still moving through the world. Prince understood that. He lived it. Now you know it too.